Hey, Survivor. Welcome to episode 154 of the Vibrant Survivor podcast. This week, I am fired up because everywhere I have been, everywhere I look, everywhere I turn, in courtrooms, in institutions, in my community, I am seeing the same pattern on repeat. People who caused harm suddenly acting helpless and demanding attention, sympathy, and leniency. Whether it's perpetrators presenting themselves as fragile, or institutions framing themselves as martyrs, or violent offenders claiming they're the ones who are threatened, it's all the same narcissistic script. And if you're tired of it, if you feel that gut punch in your body, I want you to know that you're not alone. And there is a psychological reason why this is happening and why it hits you so hard. So let's get into it. But first, let's self-regulate with a 4-4-8 breathing exercise, if you'd like. And I invite you to place one hand on your heart and one on your belly. And we'll inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 8. Ready? Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What do you notice in your body? Grab your notebook and pen, and let's dig in. Hey, Survivor. Welcome to the Vibrant Survivor podcast. Do you want to disconnect from a narcissistic or toxic situation and heal? Are you Googling how to identify a narcissist, narcissistic abuse, and boundaries? Are you feeling stressed and lonely while trying to avoid being sucked back in and lied to again? Hey, I'm Lesley. As a busy wife and mom, I fell for the lies and manipulations of narcissists. I wasted my time, talents, and money on users who kept moving the goalposts. I wanted real relationships and business opportunities and to enjoy life with my family. Instead, I struggled with anxiety, panic attacks, and insomnia, and I couldn't trust my body or anybody until I took a holistic approach to healing. In this podcast, you'll find tips for healthy living, trauma healing, and boundaries so that you'll have the freedom, confidence, and inner peace to respond, not react, after narcissistic abuse. Take a deep breath in, let it out slowly, and just relax. This time's for you. One of the traits of narcissistic personalities is that they cannot tolerate being responsible for their own behavior. So they blame shift, they twist the truth, and play the victim. This isn't an emotional thing, it's a strategy. And here are the main parts of the script. There's the pushing of responsibility outward because accountability feels like the ultimate ego death. And it triggers all this shame, and so it is instantly rejected. And then there's just the image aspect of it, like using frailty, helplessness, or overwhelm to influence how other people perceive them. And it's all performative. It's designed to soften the blow of natural consequences. And then there's this victim signaling that can happen where they publicly perform and play the victim who's helpless to get sympathy or to get on some kind of higher moral ground. And it's manipulative. It's not even really vulnerable. And then there's DARVO, that is deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. And this is part of a playbook that abusive people and abusive systems use to their advantage. And then there's the rewriting of the narrative. They will rewrite the story so that you become the aggressor and they become the wounded person. And once you understand this pattern, you can't unsee it. So let's talk about how this can play out in real life. So first of all, say in my week, you have the murderer showing up to court in a wheelchair, kind of slumping down, in a suit, glasses, haircut, wearing a disposable mask, looking as harmless as possible and hiding any kind of reactions. Meanwhile, the defense team is putting together or has put together a long list of narratives about ACEs, personality disorders, and other psychological disorders, helplessness, misunderstood suffering. This is not an accident. It's kind of a test, but it's not an accident. It's by design. It's all about courtroom image and strategy around that. Let's gather a bunch of experts, give the perpetrator all the evaluations and diagnoses that they never had, but let's do it after the fact, and then minimize the choices that they made in the moment. A second example from this week is failing institutions and martyrdom. So we've got these school administrators who failed to protect children from a handsy former teacher to the tune of dozens of victims, suddenly positioning themselves as victims of unfair criticism or consequences. We did the best we could. There was a pandemic. We're being attacked. We're the ones suffering. This is like organizational DARVO, if you will. And then we've got teen violence offenders claiming or posturing as though they're the ones being targeted. People who have caused some serious harm, insisting that they feel threatened by the community's outrage, or their defense teams being overwhelmed and whining about being overwhelmed by the volume of digital evidence that they have to go through leading up to trial. And it's the same pattern: deflection, minimizing, reframing the narrative, and performing. And these are all different contexts, but it's the same narcissistic playbook. Sound familiar? So if this kind of behavior makes you feel sick, mad, exhausted, or just triggered, re-traumatized, there is a reason for that. One is that it literally mirrors the abuse dynamic that you already lived through. Your abuser hurt you and then turns around and cries harder than you. Your abuser harmed you and then convinced everyone that you were the problem. Two is that it invalidates your reality. It's like that never happened. And watching perpetrators shift into victim mode just feels like your truth, your reality is being erased. Your memory's being erased. And that can just feel horrible. It can feel confusing as well as invalidating and infuriating. Three is that it triggers just the trauma of helplessness. Your body remembers, your body keeps the score and remembers that feeling of maybe not being believed at the time that whatever happened to you. And that can be a horrible feeling and can potentially set you back on your healing journey. Four is that it is exhausting because you can see, you can feel the manipulation. Survivors have highly attuned radar. You can see the performance happening instantly. And it is maddening when other people don't. And granted, cognitive dissonance is a real thing, and it sucks, when it's pervasive throughout your community, like people that you should be able to lean on or should have your back. It's like they're drinking the Kool-Aid and falling for the banana in the tailpipe. You are not crazy though. Your body is responding to something very real that has happened to you. Let's go a little deeper with this. So research by Dr. Jennifer Fried, the psychologist who actually developed betrayal trauma theory, shows that perpetrators often use the DARVO pattern, that deny, attack, and then reverse victim and offender, and they'll flip the script essentially to make themselves look like the victim. It's not confusion or innocence, like it's manipulation, and it is documented. So keep in mind too, narcissistic personalities actually have this fragile sense of self, and accountability can threaten that internal world and feel like death. So also, narcissistic personalities will use vulnerability and they'll weaponize it in order to avoid consequences and manipulate other people's perceptions. And when people aren't willing to do the deeper dive or, look past what they see on the surface and just take whatever at face value, then that can become problematic, and it can help it to stick when really, it's all a charade. And then there's the performance, whether it's for judges, for the community at large, for institutions, for you, anyone who might provide protection. And side note, you may provide protection unwittingly by falling for the performance or reacting in a way maybe that's out of character for you, which can then bolster the narcissistic or toxic person's position, because maybe, say, if you're in a hearing, you may get reprimanded by a judge because you reacted instead of, taking a step back, seeing it for what it is, and seeing that your buttons are being pushed or you're being manipulated into reacting a certain way. It could be just even evoking an emotional response from you, playing, tugging on your heartstrings and getting you to maybe soften your approach or to tone down your status as the real victim in the situation. Something to think about. And there's a lot of confusion that goes along with this performance, this manipulation. And when people are confused, they're easier to control. And the narcissistic or toxic person will not hesitate to do so given the opportunity. And this is why the victim act is so common. It's not random, it's a strategy. So here's where you take back your power. 1, do not expect accountability from the narcissistic or toxic individual. 9 times out of 10, it is not coming. And even if they, try to play like they have taken accountability, I take full accountability for my actions. A lot of times that's lip service. I'm seeing that in court, in these hearings, in these different cases. Real accountability most of the time is not coming. And when you, survivor, accept that, it sets you free. 2, recognize the script early. When you see that pattern, you can disconnect from it emotionally, physically, psychologically, proximity-wise. Disconnect from that and see it for what it is, a script and a performance. 3, stand firm in your truth. You do not need the permission or participation of the narcissistic or toxic individual, especially in the form of a confession, for what has happened or what is happening to you to be real. Now, there may be some kind of a confession, and, consider it a bonus if that happens, but don't expect it. Stand firm in your truth. And this could be in the form of journaling, talking to a therapist, documenting, keeping your receipts. What has happened is real. 4, validate yourself first. I know what I saw. I know what I know. My body remembers the truth of what has happened. Whatever that looks like for you. But allow yourself to know what you know, to feel what you feel. Number 5, choose where you put your energy. Not every performance deserves your attention, deserves, your reaction. And you can respond instead of react. And you don't even have to do it necessarily publicly. You can take a meeting, you can relay pertinent information about what is happening privately and garner support from your community, from a trusted friend, from a therapist. There are many ways that you can redirect your energy in a way that is going to help you and that's going to keep you on your path to healing. 6, stay rooted in community and in clarity. When you are isolated, it makes you vulnerable, and it can also make it easy for you to, say, question yourself or, go back and forth, doubt yourself. Real healing happens in community, and your community can help to restore your reality if that has been distorted in any way, shape, or form by these performances, by these scripts. And 7, remember that justice is external, but healing is internal. I talked about this on the previous episode, but very important to remember. Healing is an inside job, and your healing starts with you, not when the gavel drops or the sentence is delivered or, punishment is administered or someone apologizes or confesses. Your healing starts with you. Narcissistic or toxic individuals play the victim because it is the only role that protects their ego. But you, survivor, are not playing a role. You're living the truth. And when you stop entertaining their bad acting, stop letting their script dictate your healing, you take back your power. Remember, they play the victim, but your truth outwits them. Thanks for tuning in, survivor. Your truth and peace matter. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Hey, survivor. Do you want to heal after narcissistic abuse? Come and join me in a closure coaching session. This is a 1-hour, one-on-one coaching call that's going to help you disconnect from dysfunction, create your own closure, and begin a long-lasting journey of healing, step by step. Head right now to closurecoachingsession.com. If this podcast has helped you understand who and what you're dealing with, sharpen your discernment, and move forward on your healing journey, share it with another survivor. Help me help others by leaving a review for the show. And let's connect on social. Take a screenshot, share it in your IG stories, find and tag me at The Vibrant Survivor, and I'll share your post too. I look forward to connecting with you on IG and seeing you back here. You're not alone and you're not crazy. Know who you're dealing with, know who you are. Take care, and I'll meet you back here next week. Bye-bye.